Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching from. Thanks for tuning in today. I am curious, having a little technical issue, and I'm not sure if it's StreamYard or Facebook, but I try to broadcast this on YouTube as well as on Facebook. And it's showing the feed on Facebook, but it is currently not showing that I can comment to Facebook. So if you are watching on Facebook, let me know if you can see any of the comments. We've had comments from Angelo, Dean, as well as a couple of comments from myself. So if anyone can let me know if that is showing up, that would be grand. Yeah, I will repeat this in a couple of minutes because I know some of you let the commercials roll. Thank you for that, because that is how one of the ways that I make money. So yeah. So once again, just if you can let me know if you can see this, if you're watching this via the Facebook feed, via the Flip Flop Travelers, if you can let me know if you can see any of these comments in the comment section, that would be great. I'm not sure if it's StreamYard or Facebook that's having a wonky connection. Usually it seems to be on the Facebook side of things. So if you can let me know if you can see these comments, I would appreciate it. And if you are on Facebook, you may not even be able to post to this. I'm not really sure how that was going to play out, but we shall continue nonetheless. So I hope everyone's doing well. I hope you are enjoying the last few days of summer break. I think next week's going to be nice and quiet in the shops, in any tourist areas. The roads, of course, are going to be awful because back to school, everybody, all the university students, all the college students, teenagers back on the roads, as well as parents driving their kids to school for elementary school. So it's going to be busy, but what can you do? So here's our topics for the day. Not quite as much in the news as I expected, but some timely stuff. I've got a friend of mine who is actually going to be flying on was going to be flying on Air Canada to Germany on September 17th, which for those of you who have anything to do with flights with Air Canada, that is when they will be able to go on strike. And the general feel is that, hopefully they can come to an agreement with their pilots' strike, with the contract of the pilots beforehand. But if they can't, then, of course, as of September 17th, we are going to see probably some fairly significant disruptions, as well as canceled flights, and that's going to impact flights thereafter for days on hand. So one of the topics that I wanted to bring up today is, what if you have a Codeshare flight? So for example, my friend was flying from Vancouver, Canada to Germany, and he was on an Air Canada flight for the first leg. Second leg of the flight was Lufthansa. There are also alternate flights that are Lufthansa all the way. And the difference is, if Air Canada is the airline that's going on strike and your flight is operated by somebody else who's not in a strike position, you don't need to worry. You're going to check in. So for example, in this scenario, my friend has rebooked his flights. He's now flying Lufthansa the whole way, which is Codeshare or it's a travel partner with Air Canada Airlines. And so he will check in with Lufthansa. He will be flying on a Lufthansa plane with Lufthansa crew. So he will not be impacted at all. So if Air Canada locks out all the pilots, cancels every single flight, he will not be impacted by this. So that's worth bearing in mind. For example, if you're watching this from the US and you're flying on American Airlines, They are also in partner agreements with Alaska Airlines, British Airways, Cathay Pacific, or I think it's just called Cathay now, Japan Air, Qantas, and several others, Finnair. So if you are flying with any of those airlines, what you want to do, usually your booking code is a 6-digit alphanumeric, and that's also called your locator. Getting confused here. Your flight number. If it's a Codeshare flight, it will usually have 4 digits, and then you really want to watch this. But it will always say on your ticket if it's operated by a different airline, because you need to know that Air Canada will still be having flights, possibly, on those days. But you wouldn't check in there. Again, because it's operated by Lufthansa, you go to whichever airline is operating the flight, okay? So just something worth knowing. I've got a couple comments here. Angelo saying good morning to Dean. Sunny Chicago. Wow, nice. What's the temperature there? It has been fairly miserable for the last few days. We've had torrential downpours in the last couple of days, and it is now, what are we at? A balmy 12 degrees. I don't even know what that is, but that's flipping cold. I suspect that might be a little bit untrue. To Fahrenheit is 54. I mean, folks, this is great sleeping weather, but during the day, a little bit more sunshine, please, especially for the last week of summer, would be nice. Okay. Angela's saying, oops, there we go. Next trip to Vegas in September. Going to check the remodeled rooms and hotels. Oh, and the restaurant and casino at the Rio. I've stayed there so many times. I used to love it, especially the fact that it had a mini fridge in the room. So if you went out for dinner and, of course, you got some massive meal, you could get a takeaway box and take it back to your room, and then that's an easy snack for the next day, because everything is so expensive in Las Vegas. It's just crazy. And I have not been for, gosh, I probably haven't been in 10 years. To me, it hasn't been fun the last few times you go. You put $20 in and 30 seconds later it's gone. But I think if I was to go back, I would probably go to Fremont Street, because I think that's still got a bit of the sort of old Vegas charm to it. But I miss the good old days of Vegas with, slot tournaments and the themed casinos. I mean, that was so much fun. Just having, just all kinds of different stuff going on. And now it seems like they're just expensive, fancy hotels, which is, okay, so that's nice, but it doesn't have any of the sort of theme to it. And show of hands, how many people have been to Vegas back in the day? This would have been in the 90s, maybe even the 80s. I don't know. I didn't start going until the 90s. But how many people remember the MGM casino? You used to walk in through the Lion's Mouth, and at the back of the casino, they had that amusement park with, there was a water ride where you would just get 100% soaked, which was fine because they sold frosty cold beers, and it was always sunny. So you could sit outside, sit in the sun, dry off, cool off, and enjoy a beer at the same time. I mean, to me, that was like right on. That was fun. Can't see comments on Facebook. Had to come back. Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you, Bojangles, for letting me know. Like I said, I don't know what's going on. A couple of months ago, I was getting this glitch, and for about 3 or 4 weeks in a row, I could not get it to connect to Facebook. And then all of a sudden, whoever was doing the background IT stuff fixed it. Angelo, next time you must be on it. Fix it for me, please. I don't even know if that's what you do, but I think you're in IT, so maybe that could help. Okay. And what else? Angelo's saying, sorry, we're doing this a little bit reverse. We've covered one topic, but we're just doing a little catch up on chat stuff. A bit about 98 degrees here, humidity around 111, or is that 111%? I don't know. Chilly 81 degrees. Yeah, well, if you come to Vancouver anytime soon, you will be freezing. Yeah, so yeah, remember when it was like it was so cool. I mean, you could get a foot-long hot dog for $1. Nobody should be eating this, by the way, because I mean, these were not top quality ingredients. This wasn't a Wagyu hot dog, that's for sure. Which incidentally you can get if you come to Vancouver and you go to Japadog. They have Wagyu hot dogs. I'm actually not a Wagyu fan, so I did try a Wagyu hot dog. Whatever, just give me 100% beef, non-filler, filler-free, and I'm happy. But yeah, I agree with you, Christine. I miss Vegas when it was sort of more fun and stuff like that. But I get it. I mean, they're not looking for people like me to come and spend $500 or $1,000 over a weekend. They're looking at people who are going to spend $500 to $1 million over a weekend. I do not fall into that category. Yeah, I agree. It's gotten so expensive. I'm curious to hear what you think of it. I think they used to have an Earl of Sandwich at Planet Hollywood, I believe. And that was pretty reasonable because there were massive sizes. So if you are traveling with somebody, you could get one sandwich and share, although so many delicious flavors, really hard to narrow it down to just one. But I'm thrilled to know that they actually just opened one up out here in Greater Vancouver in Langley. I've yet to try that out, but I remember the sandwiches there, and they were absolutely fabulous. Angela saying, first time, to close the year before. Oh, shame. Yeah. Yeah, you're talking about the MGM theme park. Yeah, it was so much fun. They had a roller coaster back there. There was a sort of, not a swing ride, something like that. I don't know. It was one of these like scary rides kind of thing. And quite frankly, a lot of the rides in Vegas were always a bit scary because they would always break down. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. IT consulting. Okay. That's what I figured. Yeah. And yeah. 111 degrees. Yuck. That is too much. I'm sorry. But yeah. Oh, okay. Christine's saying they found a really good restaurant in the mall next to Paris called Flights. Okay, well, Angelo, I hope you're taking notes because that might be worth trying for sure. But yeah, I just, the flights are still stupidly cheap. But once you get there, I mean, you can literally see the money floating out of your wallet. It's just brutal. And especially for Canadians with the exchange rate being what it is. It's been better in the last week or so. But you're still talking, like for us, it's about $1.40 for every dollar that we spend in the US. So that's tough. I'm actually going to head down to Bellingham this afternoon and do some shopping. And it's tough with the exchange rate. But what's interesting is seeing different variety of foods, clothing, because y'all get totally different suppliers down in the US than we get up here. We seem to be still, even in 2024, kind of limited in what styles, designs, options we can get up here. So it's kind of sad, but gas is cheap down in Bellingham, and Costco, Fred Meyer. I mean, can't go wrong, right? Angela saying stayed at the Palazzo Friday through Sunday. Oh, kids all came in. Oh, for university kids in California, and they're $100 a hand. Whoa. Well, I mean, I guess like if you bet big, you win big potentially. But personally, I'd rather spend that money on another trip. And we are going to talk about all-inclusives and how much those have gone up over the last few years. So with, all the trips that I've got coming up and planned for later this year and for next year, I don't know. I mean, yeah, like betting $100 a spin on a slot machine, a big risk. Well, it's not big risk because the risk. The risk is $100, but the potential, even if it's a $5 slot machine or a $10 slot machine, like I said, you can bet big, but you can win big, much more so than playing blackjack. Although blackjack is significantly better odds than a slot machine, I believe. At least last time I checked. Oh yeah. So yeah, he's going to check out the restaurant. So good recommendation. Thank you for that. Bojangles back in the day. Your deal. Oh yeah. Yeah, no, I don't know if they're still doing that buffet deal. And that was a pretty good price. I think it was it $50 or something? And you could eat. And if you timed it just right, you could book in at, for example, the end of lunch, and you got it for just a 24-hour period. So if lunch is from, say, noon till 3, then you could go at 2:00, eat your buffet lunch, go for dinner, and you could go to any of the Caesars properties, or I guess technically under Harrah's was the franchise. You could go somewhere for dinner, then you could go for breakfast, and then you could catch lunch again the next day before your 24-hour period finished up. But I think a lot of people caught on to that. So they may have pulled that back and limited you to just the 3 meals in a 24-hour period. But nonetheless, I mean, there's things like that were a pretty good deal. So yeah, definitely, you got to look for the deals when you're in Vegas, because it's the only way to survive. Okay, interesting. Flights of everything, mimosas, margaritas, a fried French toast. Wow. I mean, I think that was fries. That's pretty cool. Okay, well, so that would make me want to go there for sure. I like themed stuff. It makes it more interesting than than if it's just regular, like Earl's, Cactus Club, Red Robin. They're all the same, right? So yeah. Okay, so let's move on. RCI, Royal Caribbean International, they are expanding, and they are going to be bringing in 3 new massive ships for their Royal Caribbean fleet. These are Icon class ships. I, to this day, do not understand why the cruise lines talk in, they say, well, this is an Icon class ship, this is an Oasis class ship. It means nothing to the general tourist. It means something to the airlines, to the cruise lines. It means something to travel agents. They talk in, oh, it's a this class ship, it's a this class ship. To the layperson, kind of means nothing. Anyways, they are like the Icon of the sea, so they are that style. So they're the big ones with the sort of, not marquee, but the promenade of shops in the inside, as well as you'll have the inside cabins with a view. So you can get regular inside cabins with no view, or you can get inside cabins with a window on the inside. And those are kind of interesting. I haven't stayed on a cruise ship with that before, but one of the Delta hotels in Edmonton, I believe it was Edmonton, used to have a hotel with rooms like that, and you were sort of overlooking the mall. Worth checking if from inside the mall, if you can see up into the hotel rooms, so that if you come back to your room at the end of a work day or after a day of touring, and you've got the lights on because it's dark in there, if you decide to get changed in the bedroom, which is where you normally would, are you giving everybody down below a peep show, or is it a one-way glass situation? Pro tip, good to know. anyways, back to these ships. So Royals actually got 4 ships on the way, these large cruise ships. And they have an option for 2 more beyond that. And Carnival Cruise Lines has also done the same thing where they are really expanding their Angelo. Yeah. And Christine saying, yeah, she meant fries. All food and drinks come in a flight. I think that's cool. I'm all for the small portions, and trying lots of different things. And again, Christine, that's something that you'll find when you go to the Hyatt this fall, I think it's, or December. I think you're going in December. That the really cool thing about the Hyatt was that the portions were quite small. So you could, well, for me, they were like one and done. I didn't need more than one entree. But for most normal people with regular appetites, you could order 2 or maybe even 3 things per person. And the portions were small enough that you could try some different stuff, which is always nice, especially if you're not there for a full week like most of us Canadians would do. Then it gives you, just a chance to try a bunch of different foods than, because the restaurants are generally speaking not always going to be open at the same time. So this is good news. These new ships, it's good news for Finland because they're tasked with building them. So that's really good money for the economy and employment in Finland. And they've actually built 21 ships for Royal Caribbean so far. So clearly it's a good arrangement for them all. Okay, next topic, hurricanes. Okay. We've been talking about this for months. I told you at the beginning of the season that they were NOAA, National Oceanic and Atmospheric Association, I believe is what that stands for. Could be wrong. Fairly close, I'm guessing. Has predicted, originally came out, I think it was in March, April, or May, and predicted 20 to 25 named storms this season, with some outliers predicting as many as 33 named storms, of which there would be 8 to 12 hurricanes, and of which 4 to 7 of those would become major hurricanes. And so, that was what they had predicted. And as I told you earlier, every time this comes up, I bring it up that generally speaking, their predictions have been way off. If they predict it's going to be a ridiculously busy hurricane season, it's usually a pretty light season. If it's predicted to be a light season, that's usually when we get some whoppers, including lots of small ones, but also some big ones. And as I said, the National Hurricane Center is saying there's nothing on the horizon, and there's been nothing since August 20th. And there's no storm formations happening for the next week. That from what they can see, there's nothing building. They're attributing this to cooler than normal ocean temperatures on the African side, which is interesting because all of my friends and family over there are saying, because they're in winter right now, that this is the warmest winter they've had in the longest time. And with the National Hurricane Center saying that there's nothing on track until about September, well, as far as they can see ahead. So in about a week's time, they're saying the last time there was this few of hurricanes in peak. This is essentially peak hurricane time, August and September. Out of between June 1st and November 30th of the hurricane season for the Atlantic side, typically August and September are the wettest, and they are when you have the most volatile weather, the most potential for hurricanes and the most storms. So they're saying that it hasn't been like this since 1997. So that's kind of interesting. Whatever that means, I don't know. Conversely, on the Pacific side, what did I say, right? They predicted below average season with just a 10% chance of more storms than normal. We on the those of you on the Atlantic side have already seen 5 named storms. And yet on the Pacific side, they've seen 9. So above average. So like I said, do you plan your vacations around their predictions? I think not. I mean, you can, but take it with a grain of salt. It's just like when you look at the forecast for, so Christine, she's going in 106 days. So, you look at the forecast and it says rain every single day. Should you be worried? No, because that might mean no rain at all. Or it might mean, a heavy rain shower once a day for about 10 or 15 minutes, and then bright sunny skies. Humidity is crazy, but if it's not raining, it's not raining, and you can always cool off in the pool. Or it could be a torrential downpour, or it could be a hurricane, but you just can't. I don't know. Let me know if you live somewhere where the hurricanes are accurate. We've talked about this before. Let me know if you live somewhere where the forecasts are accurate. Because here in Vancouver, no. I mean, they'll predict it's going to be sunny all day long and it'll rain. They'll predict no rain for the upcoming week. You wake up on Monday and it's pouring rain. They'll predict it's going to be rain. Usually this is in August when we're going through drought and desperately need rain to get rid of the forest fires. They'll predict rain all week long and you get like 5 drops and that's it. So I'm curious, does anybody have live somewhere where you get accurate forecasts? I'm curious. I don't think it exists. I remember the first time I went to Scotland, they were like, if you don't like the weather, just wait 20 minutes because it'll change. So there you go. It's different all over the place. Yeah, definitely not here in Chicago. I've only been to Chicago once. Beautiful city. But that was probably 20 years ago, maybe more. So I don't really remember what the weather was like. I remember it was cold, but it was, you know what? It was right after 9/11. And we were one of the first flights that started going again. Yeah, nothing scary about that. Yeah. So I will be there. Am I there on a Wednesday? Let me just take a look. Work trip Wednesday. Oh, yeah, you know what? I will be. So I'm going to be at Secrets Costa Mujeres on the Tuesday, checking out on the Wednesday. I think I will, you know what? I think I'll go live from there on Wednesday. Hard to say. Oh, it's time change. So that'll be later. I don't know. We'll work it out. I think I'll probably go live from Secrets Costa Mujeres because I think a lot of people are interested in it. But then I might also go live from Hyatt once I get there. Once I've been there for a little bit, I will leave Friday morning, flying to LA. So yeah, I'll probably go live just so that I can show you guys what looks different. I've been even looking at the pictures from, oh gosh, can't remember her name, Roxanne. Roxanne had shared a bunch of photos. She was there about a month ago. And it just looked like they had so much more little like knick-knacky things and stuff like that. So it looked a little bit more lived in. They've unpacked a lot of their boxes now. So, you know what it's like when you move and you go through the boxes and you think, oh yeah, I think this is everything. And then you open the next box and it's like, oh, I forgot about these paintings for the wall or whatever. So yeah, that'll be kind of neat. Yeah. I mean, my girlfriend was there in May, actually, around the time that I was at the Hyatt, and she just raved about it. So that will be interesting to see. So yeah, I think I'll go live from both of them. And then like I said, I'll be doing a whole new set of videos for you guys. And also of the other properties, Breath of Soul and Secrets Costa Mujeres, just so you can see what that's like. Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know. I've booked in Vantage Club again. because I thought, well, I mean, I don't need, I'm just going by myself, so I don't really need Vantage Club, but I'm curious to try the breakfast because that's now open at the Mediterranean restaurant. And also, I did really like the Vantage Club Lounge, and I do prefer the views. And then this way, it's going to give me an apples to apples comparison. Other than, I think I'm booked on the Bayview side this time, so that'll be a little bit different view, but that's okay with me. Cool. So yeah. Oh, and also, Christine, by the time you're there, hopefully the lunch and dinner buffet, or the grab and go thing, hopefully that'll be open. Everybody keeps asking, why is there no buffet for lunch? And the reason is it's located, if this is Hyatt Vivid, and this is the Dreams building, Vivid is adults only, Dreams is family friendly. It's believed that people on the Hyatt side will be able to go over to the Dreams side, but it's not known, or it hasn't been decided, or maybe they're still reconsidering things, if adults on the Dreams side will be able to go over to the Hyatt side or not. I don't know. But that grab and go restaurant for lunch and dinner is located in the annex. So it's like on floor 2 between the two properties. So will you be able to, will they open before Dreams opens? Difficult to say, probably not, but who knows? But anyways, that is why they do not currently have a buffet for lunch and dinner there. We always end up talking about Hyatt, right? I mean, I can't help myself. It just happens. Okay, let me go back to my list of topics. Okay, so now, well, this is a feisty one. What are they saying is the opening date for Dreams? I don't know, and it'll be interesting to get an update on this when I'm there in October, at the beginning of October. When I was there in May, they were thinking maybe later this fall or December, which would make sense. If they can open for December, then they're going to have excellent introductory rates for opening, but it's also over Christmas, which is normally the most expensive time of year to go to an all-inclusive resort. So I'm sure they're shooting for that, but I have also heard January or February. So it's hard to say what they'll do. Ideally, a resort does not want to do what they did with Vivid, which is open on the cusp of low season. Like, you open in April and May are busy wedding months, but nobody in their right mind is going to book a destination wedding with 20, 30, 40, 100 guests at a hotel that's just opening when there's no guarantee that they're going to open on time. So, and then June hits, and then other than, a lot of the Mexican tourists using spring break time and going to resorts, you don't see a lot of Canadians or Americans going, less so than during peak season. And so then you got 6 months of low numbers. So ideally, a resort would want to open up, like I said, December time, ramp up to peak. I don't know, unless they planned it that way so that the staff could have a slower acceleration to getting up to full speed. It's hard to say. I haven't specifically asked, but could be. So going back to this, so Ryanair has had a lot of issues with air rage. And as you know, Ryanair is the low-cost carrier. They were even saying at one point, if you've ever been to England, you know that it's not uncommon that if you need to go to the toilet or the loo in a bathroom in pubs in England, that a lot of times it's like 5, 10, 25 cents or whatever, even a pound to get into the washroom. Harrods 15 years ago, Harrods was a pound, which was like, whoa. but I mean, it's Harrods, so of course, you got to go and check it out, right? But there was a rumor, maybe it was just a joke, maybe it was like, let's float this and see what the reaction is. Ryanair was going to start charging £1 to use the toilet on board the flights. And because they are so cheap, that you look on TikTok, you will find all kinds of scammy videos on how to, you pack this, you wear a fishing jacket, which has full of pockets, and you just stuff all your clothes in the pockets because you're not allowed a carry-on unless you pay extra. You're not allowed a check bag unless you pay extra. So people are circumventing this in every possible way. People will bring a pillow on board to use while they're flying in the cabin. It's just basically a pillowcase full of clothes. Again, not really fooling anybody here, but circumventing the rules for sure, and a way to bring your clothes with you. So, to a certain extent, they might say that they've kind of created problem of their own. But you'll also hear about, some of the football hooligans and stuff like that. By football, I mean soccer. As well as, some of the crazy issues with, all the tourists going to Spain and stuff like that, and how they've really cracked down on a lot of the rules for drinking and stuff like that, because it's creating an environment where the tourists are just going crazy and the local residents are no longer able to enjoy this place where they've lived for the last 5, 10, 20, 30, 40 lifetime years. So what Ryanair has decided is they are campaigning for a 2-drink maximum at European airports. And this is not just EU airports, so it includes the UK. They're saying that a lot of the air rage has been due to the significant amount of massive flight delays that they've had in the EU this summer for a variety of reasons. And the chief executive of Ryanair was quoted as saying that they're dealing with at least one bad case of assault per week. I mean, never have I ever experienced a situation where I needed to see somebody subdued. I've seen people get a bit mouthy, but or belligerent, but nobody's ever been in a situation where I've never seen anyone had to be restrained. I've never seen anybody actually, I have seen somebody almost get kicked off a plane, but that wasn't going to cause a diversion. It was because they were drinking their own booze on the plane. They knew they were wrong, but they lied and pretended like they didn't know. So the pilot came and gave them a stern warning, told them they could be thrown in jail upon landing. And hopefully they'll never do it again. Will they? I don't know. With Ryanair, they're also saying that it's an increase of the use of illegal drugs as well as the combination of alcohol. Because, as you said, drunks are pretty much just going to fall asleep once they've had too much to get on the plane. But once you start, and they specifically referenced powder. Well, we all know what that is. I'm like, I mean, is everybody doing? I don't know. I guess I live in a world where I'll have my wine. I might have a cocktail, maybe 2, maybe 3, but drugs just aren't my thing. So I guess I'm living in a different world than everybody else, and somehow I guess it surprises me when I hear about the amounts of this that's going on. Angela's saying it sounds like Spirit. Oh yeah, Spirit or Frontier flight. Yeah, exactly. It's or Allegiant. It's the low cost carriers, and I think people get pissed off when it's you think you're getting this really low fare, and then by the time they nickel and dime you with, oh, would you like to have a boarding pass? That's an extra $5 or a $10 convenience fee. Oh, would you like to be able to choose your seat on the plane? If you want to not have the worst possible seat, which is basically the middle seat at the back of the plane, right beside the toilets, there's an extra $35 charge. It's things like that are getting people irritated. And it's essentially not even giving them a savings. So yeah, but the drug and alcohol combo seems to be the issue with this. So flights to oh yeah, and did you know this? If you're flying to Ibiza from Liverpool or Glasgow with Ryanair, they don't allow any bottles on the plane. They, I guess, in the past had said that they thought, oh, people are bringing on bottles of water, but it was actually just full of vodka because vodka's clear, right? How would you know the difference? I guess it could have been gin, but gin has a distinctly flowery smell to it, so people might be aware. But yeah, so they don't allow any bottles, meaning to say, if you want water on the plane, you can't bring it on the plane. Even if you've bought it after security, they will not allow any water on the plane, full stop, no bottles of it. I guess if you could get a sealed can of water. I don't know if they have that in the UK. I've seen that in Mexico. Yeah, it's kind of Christine, you crack me up. I would rather walk. Yeah, well, that shows you what she thinks of Frontier. Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, so yeah, it's interesting. I was surprised about the water thing, but obviously it's just become such a huge issue. And like I said, I guess I live in a dreamland. Like I'm just not aware of this stuff. It's not like what I'm used to. They did mention, like, obviously when anybody lists a fine, you have the maximum out, and obviously for a first-time offender or for a mild offense, they're probably going to minimalize the fine a lot. But it was interesting to read, like, acts of drunkenness on a plane face a maximum fine of £5,000. So what would that be? Probably in the neighborhood of 3,500 euros or something. I'll pull that up in a second. And up to 2 years in prison. So, I mean, that's pretty significant. Let's do this. Okay, euros, no, pounds. So 5,000 is, what is that? Convert is, oh, okay. So that is like 6,600 bucks American. Wow. So that's pretty significant. And then it gets worse. If you are that person who, oh, I hate when it does this. If you're the person that causes them to have to divert, then, whoa. Okay, let me go back to my comments. Here we go. Okay, if you cause the plane to divert because of the issue, because you're causing an issue, the minimum fine, it doesn't say this is a minimum fine, but I suspect it probably is £10,000 up to £80,000. £10,000, folks, is over 13,000 American dollars. Multiply that by 8 if it's the maximum fine. Yeah, like, so that's, what is that? That's over $100,000. To me, I'd be sitting down and shutting up pretty quick. I mean, that's a lot of vacation money to blow just because you're, Hey, Frenchie, how are you? She's saying, just got back from Vivid. It was a great experience. Awesome. Yeah, you were mentioning, we were commenting back and forth on one of the videos. So I'm glad that you had a good time. Everyone seems to. Roxanne, when she went, she was a little bit like, I don't know. And I think, Frenchie, I think you were back and forth a little bit on more so than some other people. So I'm glad that you had a good time. That's awesome. So yeah, so when it comes to, we'll see what happens with this whole thing with the EU airports. It's unfortunate that, and maybe I don't think they could go as far as to discriminate and say, well, you've got a boarding pass for Ryanair, therefore you get a stamp on your boarding pass every time you have a drink, or it's registered in a system somewhere. I don't know. Because for some person who is, well, look, I've had layovers, crazy layovers before. Like, I think one time in England, we had like an 8-hour layover to fly from Vancouver to London, Heathrow, and then from Heathrow down to Johannesburg in South Africa. I think we had like a 7 or 8 hour layover, which was, like if they're going to say you only have 2 drinks, look, you're not going to get wasted off 2 drinks when you've got 8 hours to kill. So it's, seems a bit punitive to me, but that's just because I enjoy a glass of wine while I'm waiting. Oh, sister went during the hurricane. Yeah, it's tough. What I learned when I was there is that the hotels, apparently, I don't know if this is by law or not, they have to have extra beds. So if it's a 400-room property, then I don't know what amount is, if it's a percent or what, but the hotels, especially in the Cancun Mine Riviera, they have to have extra beds for capacity if there's a hurricane. I suppose it depends if it's designated as a hurricane shelter property. And this is not just for the guests, but it's also for potentially sister properties and also staff. I mean, if the hurricane's bad and these people cannot leave the property, what are they going to do? Not sleep for 48 hours, 72 hours? So yeah, so it's interesting. But at the same time, I mean, a friend of mine was stuck in the Hurricane 𝖳તુΛિЛ in Cabo San Lucas, and wasn't a subject he'd like to talk about a lot because it was incredibly disturbing. I mean, the roof of the theater where they were all battened down got torn off, and so it was really, really scary. So they were basically down in the bowels of the resort, which at the same time, any of us in the travel industry would be like, oh, this is cool. It's like behind the scenes, but difficult to have that level of excitement and enthusiasm when you don't know how bad the destruction is outside. You don't know when you will be getting home, if it's in the next few days, if it's in the next few weeks, if it's going to be a month or more before you can depart, and you're not living in the greatest conditions. So yeah, kind of scary. Oh, good. Yeah. Isla Mujeres is always fun. Yeah. Driving around in the golf carts. I think maybe an hour to circumnavigate the whole island. It's very small, and just driving around on the golf course, it's predominantly golf carts that are on the roads because it's just easier. So that's always fun to go tooling around. So yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. No, let's move on to the next one. So all-inclusive pricing. So I read an article that was talking about how the all-inclusive prices have gone up so much in the past few years that business and bookings are starting to decline. I think that to a certain extent this is true, but I also think what happened was you had, pre-COVID, where it's just like, oh, you're going to go on another vacation? Okay, well, whatever, because we hadn't had any restrictions on travel. And so, demand was there to a certain extent, but it was just, regular demand. And then COVID hit, and then demand went through the roof, revenge travel, getting it out of your system, all that kind of stuff. Demand went through the roof, and supply and demand. So supply is up, demand is low, and that was pre-COVID. Prices were pretty reasonable. Then this happened, even more so. And with the demand higher than the actual availability, prices were through the roof because they could charge what they wanted. And so I thought, okay, well, I'm going to go back and check this. And I think, Angelo, Christine, you would probably agree with this. I looked at some of my prices. Yeah. Yeah, they have. They've really gone up so much. Oh, well, okay. Yeah, I was just going to bring this up, Frenchie. Priced out of booking the Zilara Punta Cana, the Zilara Cap Cana, unaffordable now. Yeah, I just pulled up prices. Like basically this guy was quoted as saying, okay, I'm going to show you Angelo's comment and then read this. Okay, so yeah, even trips that used to be cheap in the US, like Orlando or Disney, have gone up a ton. And we talked about that a couple of weeks ago. Like the prices for Disney are insane. I mean, you're looking at, for a family of 3, you're looking at $1,000 for Disneyland. For was it a park hopper? I don't believe it was even a park hopper. I think it was a single park pass for 3 days. It's like absolutely insane. Yeah, exactly. So this guy was quoted as saying, many of the all-inclusive resorts have nearly doubled in the past few years, meaning that value for money is shrinking or non-existent compared to other destinations or types of vacations. He went on to say they can get a nice European vacation for the same price that it's going to cost them to go to an all-inclusive. Well, to that I say, no, just no, not true, not at all. We all know how expensive. I mean, I was looking at, I was supposed to be doing a cruise on MSC to the Canary Islands in September, and just looking at booking hotels in London and Southampton pre and post, like what was it? So what we're doing, we're going to Aruba instead. Where was, trying to see. Oh, here we go. Yeah, and I think looking at the hotels. Yeah, so I looked at variety of options, and we were looking at no less than about 250 to almost 400. So about 300 to 400 bucks Canadian, or about 400 bucks Canadian. 400 bucks Canadian would be about 225, 230, I'm going to say, American. And that was just London. And then Southampton, which is where the cruise ships depart, was, even more. Like, it was absolutely insane. And I mean, it is what it is, right? You got to go. You got to go. You got to stay somewhere. Oh yeah. Going to the tides. Room rates are so high. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Points are the best thing. Doing Secrets Capcana. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's right next door, actually. Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah. You just need the time off. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, you got to start looking at the angles on this stuff, really. So I looked at Hyatt Zilara Cap Cana. Now, I cannot remember what I paid in 2019 and 2020. I'm getting better at tracking all this stuff now. But I want to say it was around 400 bucks a night. Now, so I looked at where I couldn't match dates of previous travel. I looked at December 1st to the 8th, which generally speaking is the least expensive week of the year that you can travel. So again, pro tip, if you are planning to go away somewhere, December 1st or 2nd week of December, right before Christmas, is the cheapest time to go. So it's definitely worth taking a look at. $824 US for a lead-in room at the Hyatt Zilara Cap Cana. Like, that is insane. And that's per room. Okay, so $400 per person. But still, that's nuts. I remember when you could stay at LeBlanc or Grand Villas for a night for that price. And I mean, those resorts come with a butler, concierge, the like top end toiletries, you know, and like Michelin star chefs, you know, that kind of thing. The other ones I looked at, so in 2021, in September, I stayed at the Hyatt Ziva Riviera Cancun that had just opened. Now, that's not really a fair comparison with that one, right? Because they had that shooting on the beach when everybody was looking for drugs and the drug dealers were selling it to them, and all hearsay, right? None of this is official. But from what I understand, a lot of the guests were doing drugs. Drug dealers were selling it to them, but the drug dealers that were selling the drugs were from a different cartel. The cartel for that area got upset, came in, tried to shoot the other cartel guys, blah, blah, blah. So basically it was a cartel fight. But nonetheless, it has caused an impact with them for getting business, getting bookings. So in 2021, I paid $388 a night, and these are all going to be US prices. So it's like apples to apples comparison. Looking at the same dates for 2024, $430. So it has gone up, but not much. But again, it's because of that incident, and people are still like freaked out about, oh my God, Mexico's not a safe country to go to, which I would challenge any day of the week and twice on Sunday, because it's no different than any other major city. I mean, where in the world can you go that you're not going to have drug issues, and maybe not cartel issues per se, but you know, again, what's the saying? You go looking for trouble, chances are you're going to find it, in my opinion. Hyatt Zilara Riviera Maya, that one opened up in 2022. I was there for Christmas. Spent the week before that at the now Emerald, which is currently under renovations. Haven't been able to find a lot of information about that. Ooh, when I'm there in October, I'm going to check into this, because that is part of the chain that I'm going to be visiting. I think, Angelo, you talked me into asking about that when we were at Vivid, because the UVC people, they are connected. They will, and they have no qualms about telling you all the stuff that they're really not supposed to be sharing. So if you ever want to know the inside scoop on new resorts that are opening up, if you ask officially at the front desk, they're probably going to say, oh, we don't know. We haven't heard for sure. We don't know. Go to the UVC people, the timeshare people. It's Vacation Club, not timeshare, but it's the same thing. Vacation Club, timeshare, you name it, it's the same thing. Anyways, I digress. Ocean View King. So this is the same, what I booked at Hyatt Ziva. Ocean View King at Hyatt Zilara Riviera Maya, so adults only. In 2022, I paid $381 a night. 2024, it's $500 a night. So that's not too much of a hit. Even Dreams Port Aventuras, Dreams Aventuras, which I love. Riviera Maya, South End, down past Cozumel, right before Acamel and before Tulum. So to give you kind of perspective, about 90 minutes from the airport. 2021, paid $158 a night. 2024, same dates, $294. So that's pretty much doubled. And again, like I said, the biggest one is the Hyatt Zilara Cap Cana. And I mean, I love that property, and it was popular when it first opened. And now that it's opened, people are enjoying it. It's had really solid reviews. Unfortunately with Vivid, I will probably agree that they made some mistakes on some hiccups on opening up, but they definitely, it's the reason the rates aren't through the roof right now is because of some of those issues. Oh, we're already at 11 o'clock. Okay, I'm going to wrap this up pretty quick. Okay, so yeah, saw that one. Looking forward to it. Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, maybe we'll do that a week or something before you go. We'll actually add that in. And then, oh, Angelo, would you like to be a part of our Wednesday chat? That would be fun. I could interview you and we could do live questions about that resort. That would be fun. Yeah, the UVC people. Yeah, I know. They're great. Zalara, Cancun is under renovations. They're doing renovations right now on the outside of it. But possibly the rooms. I noticed when I was there, and I hadn't heard anything about it, so it's a super quiet situation. But yeah, they were definitely doing some stuff. Oh, yeah, the Coty at Zalara, Riviera Maya, yeah, they were everywhere, and they had a paper that you had to sign as well as. So we got a nice upgrade to the plunge pool rooms, which is like the only rooms that are higher than that were the like the presidential suite or the master suites, and it had a big sign on the wall that said that you weren't allowed to leave any food out on the balcony. And one person, I think, said that they had left their door open, and so then they had one in their room. It's like, well, yeah, of course it's going to do that. So, yeah, I know you're shy. Oh, that cracks me up. Definitely do that. Yeah. Yeah, that would be great. That would be a lot of fun, I think. So yeah, let's definitely plan for that. Yeah, so it's hard to say if on to wrap up this thing about the all-inclusive resorts going up. They really have gone crazy, and hopefully now the prices will are leveling off. We're definitely seeing that with flights, so that's a good sign. But hopefully now the all-inclusive resort prices will start to decrease and become more affordable again. So fingers crossed on that one. So I'm going to wrap it up for this week. Thank you so much for tuning in, and thanks for all your comments. I love chatting with you guys. You guys all have such a wealth of knowledge and love to talk travel. So this is my favorite time of the week is just chatting with you all about these different destinations and travel stuff. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for indulging me. And I hope you have a great day, a great long weekend coming up. It is the last week of sort of official summer with all the kids off and everything. So if you're a parent, you're probably looking very much forward to this weekend. If you're not, it's probably less of a deal other than maybe a slow down of barbecue season. So that's kind of unfortunate. But September is usually good weather. So yeah, so thanks for tuning in. Have a great week. Have a great weekend. And we will see you again next Wednesday. Angelo, I'm going to message you separate. So watch for that. And yeah, we'll see you again soon. See you next Wednesday. So bye for now.